Hey guys, brand new podcast. The Birdie Boy World Tour is postponed. We've rescheduled dates. If you bought tickets to the tour, check out Bert.com. All the rescheduled dates are up there. I'm hoping this shit kicks out by beginning of June. We can get back out on the road. So go and take a look at the dates at Bert.com. Remember, my Netflix special, Hey Big Boy, is streaming right now on Netflix. So go to Hey Big Boy. Go to Netflix and watch Hey Big Boy. My bestie, Tom Segura's, is on there. Chris D'Elia's comes out next week, I think. Is it next week? I'm going to say next week. So make sure, get ready. D'Elia's is going to be a banger. And then you got the Corona Boys up there. Me, D'Elia, and Tommy. All three of us. Today's podcast is with a buddy I've known for probably 9 years, I want to say. He was the star of Man vs. Food. He has had numerous shows on the Travel Channel. He is the reason I got into the Travel Channel. He's the reason I started watching the Travel Channel. He's the reason I took a meeting with Sharp Entertainment, who ended up doing Bert the Conqueror. He is technically, kind of, you want to say, the reason I worked for the Travel Channel for 9 years was because of this one-man show. I was so fascinated by Man vs. Food, by him, not just the show. Obviously, I still watch the show. I think we talk about that very quickly, not in and out. I didn't want to get in any gossip because I know Adam was not super happy when it went to a new host, and we kind of stayed away from that. We talked a little bit about the drama that happened with him and social media. We didn't get too much into it. Adam got burned a lot by different places. I think by being who he was, or at least speaking freely the way I've been allowed to since I left Travel Channel. And Adam's still, he's still very close to the vest. He's a really fascinating guy. Like I said, I've known him for a very long time, and he's just a really cool guy. He's an interesting guy. He's in Brooklyn. His mom is in Brooklyn. He is holed down. And man, we could have talked for hours if it hadn't gotten dark. It got dark towards the end. If you go to the video's on YouTube. These are Zoom recordings, and we're tripling them up throughout the week. We are adding as much content as possible because, quite honestly, it's a lot easier than doing a regular podcast. So I think we've got literally one a day next week. My phone. Let's see who this is. Name unavailable. It's an 813 number. It's got to be Florida. Hold on one second. Hello, you're on my podcast.
Albert.
This is Albert. Okay, I'm recording this. I'm doing a podcast right now. Is this a Home Shopping Network?
No, Albert. I'm from Home Buyers Network, and we're looking to buy properties in the area for cash. So we just wanted to check if you might consider selling the property.
Which property is that?
At East 7th Avenue.
Oh, I don't own a property there.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry about that, Albert, but no worries. I'll document everything here. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, have a great day. And check out the Bertcast. This phone call will be on it. Are you cool with that?
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Check out the Bertcast and you'll hear yourself on my podcast. Hey, do you have anything to promote?
None so far.
Are you in Florida right now?
I really want to provide it. However, for security or privacy purposes, we're not allowed to close the location.
Okay. I hear you. Well, listen, stay safe, okay?
Be safe as well, Albert.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you. Hey, guys, that's what if I was Jim Florentine, I would have fucking murdered that. Jim Florentine's so good at those, stringing them along. I get that phone call all the time. Apparently, our names are under some property. I wonder if that's my dad's. I bet it's my dad's property. Hang on, let's call my dad real quick. Find out. By the way, this is just added content, everybody. You're like, Bert, fucking wrap it up. I'm ready to get to the podcast. The podcast is coming. Let's just call my dad real quick. And we'll see if my dad owns property on East 7th. I bet he does. And I bet they're calling me asking if he wants to sell. And I've been going, go fuck yourself. And then my dad's like, buddy, the economy's out. If they want to buy, let's sell. By the way, my mom and dad have been quarantined for 21 days together. Hey, Mom.
Hey, hon. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing my intro to my podcast for Adam Richman for Man vs. Food.
Ah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, do you guys own a property on East 7th?
No.
Okay.
No. That's one of Dad's clients, and he.
But hang on, you're on the podcast, so be careful.
That's why I'm handing the phone to your father.
Interesting.
Yes. Here, Albert, you're on the podcast with Bert. He wants to know about the properties you own on East 7th. What? Oh.
Hey, I get you're on the podcast, so be careful with what you.
Put him on like a speaker here.
Yeah, hang on.
Hey, Bert, how you doing?
Hey, you're on the podcast, so be careful what you say. But we get a phone call from this company in Tampa every day asking if we want to sell our property on East 7th.
Okay, the answer is no.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to sell a property that I don't own.
I don't own it either.
Okay, good. All right. Well,
I'm simply a land trustee for a client of mine. I want to remain anonymous.
Okay. Well,
I have like 20 or 30 properties in Eagle with me as trustee.
Okay. All right. That's what it is. All right. Well, I'm going to get back to this intro. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So that's what it is, everybody. Well, I hope that was fascinating for you guys. Yeah, today's podcast is a good one. It's a 2-hour conversation with me and Adam Richman. How long is it, Halston? 2-hour conversation with me and Adam Richman. I hope you guys enjoyed AJ McClain from the Backstreet Boys. I just did one with Eugene Meerman. Eugene is has a movie out right now called It Started as a Joke. You might want to check it out. It's a documentary about stand-up and much, much more. That'll be coming out next week. We got Gabby Reese lined up. We got Guy Fieri lined up. We got Tyler Florence lined up. I'm hitting up a lot of my old, because I'm obsessed with Food Network lately. That's all I've been watching. I'm hitting up a bunch of the old Scripps talent and doing some podcasts with them. I hope you guys enjoy that. Listen, hit me up. God, how am I going to do this? Hit me up on Twitter, or you can text me at 323-208-0844 and text me and tell me if there's a guest that you'd like to have on that you think would be good. You can communicate with me via that number. Just type in Bertcast in that. So what'll happen is if you send it to me in Bertcast, then I can search Bertcast and read all the texts that say Bertcast, and then I can reply to you via that so much easier than I can email. That's on my phone. It's really easy to communicate. That's 323-208-0844. But make sure to write Bertcast in there, or Bertcast guest, or just Bertcast, because then I can search Bertcast and those will all come up. So tell me if there's a guest you'd like to have me on, like me to have on during these Zoom periods where I'm tripling up. And if there's a podcast that you're a big fan of that you're like, Bert, you'd be great on that. I am a great guest. I'm a great guest. I'm a much better guest than I am host. Although I would argue I'm a really good fucking host during these Corona Zoom podcasts, because I am listening more than I've ever listened and barely interrupting. Yeah. Everyone gave me the compliment. By the way, Bill Burr and I do a podcast called Bill Bert, and we do it on Zoom. Tom and I are still doing I'm doing a Two Bears, One Cave later today with Tommy. But on the Zoom, everyone's like commenting like that was the best podcast ever. And I was like, oh, nice. Everyone's like in Zoom. And then I read the comments and they're like, thank God Bert finally shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear him talk. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, not reading comments on Bill Bert ever again. And then I did Two Bears, One Cave, and they're playing a drinking game called Bertus Interruptus. And I was like, okay, hey guys, you're kind of getting a little close to my real nerves and my real feelings and hurting my feelings. So I'm trying to shut the fuck up, which I don't think is what you want out of a comedian, but apparently. Anyway, let's get to the podcast. Today's podcast is with my buddy Adam Richman. He has a new show coming out on Dave. I think that's a subsidiary of BBC. I think it's called Dave. So you UK fans, you guys should enjoy this. He was the host of Man vs. Food, America's Greatest Sandwich. I mean, he's had so many shows on Travel Channel that I would be here all day if I started naming them. More importantly, check him out on Instagram. Check him out on Twitter. He's one of my favorite dudes alive. And like I said, he is make sure to follow him on Instagram. He does live DJ sessions every night. And he does it mostly like he adds in healthcare workers. So like all the healthcare workers kind of like stream in, and he does let me see what Adam, it's AD, God, I'm such a fucking jackass. ADAMRICHMAN, Adam Richman. He does these live DJ sessions. Here, I'll show you. Watch live video. Take a look at this. I think he gets has a couple cocktails, possibly an herb or two, and DJs for like an hour. And he takes in fans and talks to them while he DJs, takes requests, and it's mostly healthcare workers. We have a really cool moment on this podcast that you'll hear, where all of a sudden you hear everyone cheering for the healthcare workers that are switching shifts at 7 p.m. It was really awesome. It was really awesome. Shout out to all you guys. Listen, I can't help in any other way. If you are doing that necessary service, the only way I can help is by putting out content that hopefully passes your time better. That is my job as a human being. My dad told me a long time ago, buddy, you're good at one thing. Don't fucking diversify. For whatever reason, you can make people laugh. So stick with the one thing you're good at. You're not good at other shit. So that's what I do. So this podcast is for you guys. Adam Richman will co-sign on that. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my friend, television host, late night DJ, all-around pimp, ex-fuckboy, gonna be a great guy when this coronavirus ends, and more than anything, a doting son. Put your hands together for Adam Richman. Are you having a cup of coffee too?
I got beers on deck though.
Oh Jesus! I haven't drank in 21 days.
Oh wait, but I thought you guys only do like sober October, right?
Yeah, with the pandemic, I figured it'd probably be smart to get my immune system up to pace.
You're having no drinks at all in the pandemic?
I haven't drank. Well, I drank once. I drank and got high with Rogan, and I swear to God, I could feel it the next day.
Yeah, same. The few times I've DJ'd for Instagram Live, and I DJ'd someone's 40th birthday via Zoom. Bourbon had like a really wicked effect on me this time, which it's never had, ever. Like, my hands broke out. Like I had to use cortisone, and like never happened. I used to live in Kentucky. It shit never happened. Is this okay? Does it look weird? Does the angle look weird?
Oh, it looks great. Looks great.
Cool.
I was up this morning doing radio call-ins. We're recording, by the way. I was up this morning doing radio call-ins at 5 in the fucking morning. So all my phone, my desk is wreck, like a wreck, and I have tons of fucking weed on hand.
Wait, is that you behind you? Is that you naked behind you?
That?
Is that in the man cave?
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Yeah, it's my man cave.
Remember, I was there when the only other time I've ever recorded with you was you and Tom Segura and Joey Coco Diaz. We did, it was in the man cave. And I was actually still with Travel Channel at that time and nearly got a man cave, but my basement's such a shithole. They're like, yeah, we can't work with this.
That's beautiful. Are you in Brooklyn right now?
Yeah, I'm blessed. I have a backyard. I have a garden. I planted all this.
Holy shit, man. Oh, that's beautiful.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. And I have like a deck. I have a back deck right there. But I want to.
Oh my God.
You got that pool though. Your house.
Oh yeah, we just bought a new house.
Oh, it's a different house.
We just bought a new house, and now we're. No. We're in the same house. We bought it, started to renovate, and then the pandemic happened, and I was like, let's just push pause. There's no reason for us to fucking run in and start renovating. I was like, let's be safe.
How the girls? They're good. They're safe.
Yeah, good. How's your mom?
Good. I mean, I was filming in Europe when this all happened, and I was already nervous, so I had already stocked up on shit before I left. And, I was a little apprehensive, and I was pre-med. I don't know if you remember that. I was like a Westinghouse science scholar and shit. And I had been reading about the pandemic and reading the World Health Reports. And so I had some stuff already at home, supply-wise. And, Man vs. Food was filming that. We had H1N1 and SARS. And I don't know if you know this, I almost died of a MRSA infection about 2.5 years ago in Switzerland. I got MRSA in a
Really?
mustache follicle while in Zurich doing a thing for Michelin. And they said it could have come from like shaking someone's hand and touching my face. It could have come from like a hotel towel. But it got in there and I had to be admitted to the hospital, and I eventually had to have surgery and intravenous antibiotics. And they were afraid the infection was going to go intracranial and affect the brain and the optic nerve. So I had the N95 masks for a while. So I'm glad I never got rid of them. I got rid of some, which I never did. But so yeah, I rushed home to be with my mom, and I haven't really. I saw her once from 6 feet away with the mask on, but she's in her 70s, so I'm freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, I got H1N1 in 2009, and it was
You got it?
fucking. Yeah, it was no joke. I thought I was gonna die. It was literally right when I got Bert the Conqueror.
Really?
Yeah, I think we did the pilot of Bert the Conqueror, and then I went to Mexico to do a gig over in December, and I got it in LA, and then flew to Mexico, drank on the plane. Big mistake with H1N1, drank on the plane, got to Mexico, and I was shivering, like couldn't breathe, shallow breaths, the sickest I've ever been in my life. I thought I was going to die. No lie, I thought I was going to die.
Jesus.
But,
What are the symptoms of H1N1?
It was like pneumonia. I couldn't get a breath. I felt like I couldn't get oxygen to my lungs. So like when I hear these people gasp, like going, I feel like I can't get oxygen, bro, that is the scariest fucking feeling. And I threw up a few times. It was the sickest I've ever been in my life. I was like the closest I ever was to death. And my wife just kind of was like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine. It's a cold." And when you can't get oxygen, oh fuck, you're literally on. It fucking sucked.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I actually ordered from both myself and from my mom those oxygen meters that clip onto your finger.
I ordered them too.
And I was so glad. My uncle's a doctor, and he had said it. He's like, "I think everyone should." I'm like, "My shit's already on order." And you have to watch that.
Yeah, I got the most expensive one. I got the one they give to infants.
I don't know. I got whichever one would come quickly. You know, Amazon has really become like, it's like the markets that you would see in like Apocalypse Now, you know, where they're like, you know, what you give me for motorbike? You know what I mean? It's like, it's like a it's like a wartime mentality here. And I got to tell you, I shout out to everyone in California, because Washington State and California were some of the earliest cases. And when you look at the graph behind Trump when he does these things, New York is still exponentially higher. And it's because people in New York are acting fucking stupid, Bert. I'm so sorry, man. Like, I had to go out, put it on my Instagram. I couldn't be silent about it. I had to pick up a package. The people from Creekstone, and this is like a plug for them, just sent me a surprise, like, care package of steaks and shit, you know, because obviously groceries are a thing. And I had to go get it at my receiving place. People are like walking around in groups of 3 or 4, like young kids, and like talking shit. Like, "I'll see you at so-and-so's house later." Like 7 kids, like in a cluster, and then walking, like, then they split into a group of 4 and 3. No one's observing the 6-foot rule. Maybe a fifth of the people I saw had their faces covered. And then the governor just showed pictures, like, for some reason, they're still doing the farmers market in Union Square. For some reason, people are still playing Frisbee at the park, and kids are playing soccer. It's terrifying.
We were talking, I was talking to a comic who will remain unnamed, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm heading over to the cellar, man. I got to get my last few sets in before they close the city down." And I was like, "Yo, man, just stay inside. Like, it's not fucking worth it." Like, we were in New Orleans when they shut shit down, and we took the tour bus from New Orleans to LA. We got out zilch. Like, we went to go get groceries in San Antonio, because we were like, we should probably get them here instead of trying in LA. So we got groceries for our families in San Antonio. Dude, it was, but even in LA, my daughter's friends were like, texted her like, "Hey, we're going to the park to hang out." I'm like, "No, the fuck you're not. You're not going to the fucking park."
Amen. If you already weren't my friend, like I'd love you even more just for that. Wait. You're saying that the Comedy Cellar was still doing shows?
Dude, up until we were already locked down in LA and they were still doing shows at the Comedy Cellar.
And you can hear, like, where I live, it used to be Litch, Long Island College Hospital, but now it's a satellite emergency room for NYU. Is that way. I have Methodist Hospital is over that way, and Manhattan is just right there. And I'm happy. It's just been like engines of just people happy with like empty roads and shit. But it's normally ambulances round the clock. This weekend was very traumatic. Friday was the worst day I've had. Usually my mind has been pretty on point with this shit. Friday was the hardest day I've had. Because it's just, it's crazy. I mean, when you think about that, half the U.S. deaths are in this state alone.
Yeah, what is it? My dad was trying to explain it to me. He was like, well, buddy, he's like, you understand there's buildings are like cruise ships out there. You got a building with like 700 people in it, and they're all living and sharing the same ventilation.
Exactly. I had a hard week because I was up. And that's the thing. The worst thing you can do is let your resistance get down. I was debating whether or not to get my mom out of New York, and I was going to rent a house up the Hudson Valley, and I had cleared it with my business manager and freed up quite a bit of cash, so I could be liquid and I could rent this thing till June, and the price gouging, seriously, fuck you to everyone on Airbnb who's trying to price gouge now, but the problem is, so when I came back from England, I was wearing masks and gloves. Nobody was social distancing. Nobody was at Kennedy. And then, in fact, the guy at passport control was such like a doofus, right? I go in, I have my working papers because I was there on a work visa. I come back into JFK, and I've got a mask on. I have my gloves on. I go through. He said, "Where are you coming from?" I said, "England." He said, "Where were you before that?" I said, "I've only been in England." And I point to the thing, and he goes, "What are you doing there?" And I show him my work papers. He goes, "All right." So then he stamps me. I go through. I'm at the baggage claim, and I had a porter because I had a bunch of shit with me. And the guy's like, "I think he's calling you." And the guy was calling me by the wrong name. I go, "Yeah, what?" He's like, "Wait a minute. What other countries did you go to?" Now, bear in mind, I've already been stamped. I've already gone through immigration. I was a baggage claim. Assuming I had no luggage or had already gotten one bag, I was gone. He was still, after having stamped me and let me into America, then goes, wait, where did you go? Like, it was so disorganized. So I don't know my status. So my point is, does it make a difference whether or not my mom is there or here? If we go together to a house in upstate New York, and I'm, God forbid, sick, I could pass it on to her, and the medical system in the city is better than it is there. It's fucking crazy.
It really is, man. And what's even crazier is like, everyone had that thought of like, do I get the fuck out of the city? Do I leave? Do I take my family and just fucking bounce? Because one of the things I've always been crazy about is having a couple go bags that's got cash, gun, everything you need, and then fucking bouncing. Always having the car.
You got the burner? You got a burner?
Oh, yeah. I did a bit of my new special about buying guns, and everyone, when shit went sideways, everyone hit me up. They're like, "Yo, you got to set me up with I call him my arms dealer in my special. But they're like, "You got to set me up with your arms dealer."
Real talk, though, I'm upset that I don't. I was an idiot as a kid growing up in Brooklyn. I'll leave it at that. So mom was very adamant about me not having any shotters around the house. But I am woefully regretful of the fact that it's not like I haven't had time before there was a pandemic. It's not like I don't film in the South where there's gun shows and stuff.
Yeah.
The gun shows are happening. I lived in Montgomery, Alabama for a year. So like I have go bags. I have like survival bags, full on. I have gas, the whole shit. Truthfully, I do. Except that I don't have that. So I
what were you shooting in the UK? Is that your new show?
So it's one of the new shows I'm doing. Yeah. It's called. They just decided on the title, maybe a week before we shut down. It's for a channel called Dave, which is part of division of BBC World. For the Dave channel, it's called Supperman, and basically it's me and celebrities. They present their last meal on Earth, starter, main, and dessert, and then I spend the next 2 acts traveling around the world trying to find maybe the better version or an even better version of their last meal on Earth. So they'll be like, I want an Asian. So the initial conceit was like, for example, there's a very famous British comic named Johnny Vegas. He's done a bunch of like the sort of iconic British series like Benidorm and stuff. He wanted, for example, an Asian seafood soup as his appetizer.
Ooh.
So we were going to go to Singapore, and I was going to learn and study that. And then he wanted a cheese plate for his dessert. So we were going to go to Paris, and I was going to go to this legendary cheese shop. And because I speak French, I was going to work with a cheesemonger, and they wanted a whole segment of me speaking the other languages I knew. And then it was crazy because we had to keep changing it. So we were about to shoot in Paris, and I said, I'm absolutely not going to France. France doubled in cases in a day. So then we changed it, and we're like, okay, we'll shoot in Kerry, Ireland. And then I said, I'm really not comfortable going to an airport right now. I said, could we do the drive-on ferry? You know, you drive your car onto a ferry, and then we drive to Kerry. No, sorry, it'll take too long. And so I was actually really glad they shut the thing down. But that's the premise of the show.
Yeah, that was that. You know, like they canceled my show in New Orleans, and I had the week before I had been at the Beacon and Constitution Hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Constitution Hall is a legit. That's a pretty big theater. It's like $4,000.
Yeah, no,
vote.
you're killing. I'm so fucking proud of you, man. Like, you know what the word kvelling is in Yiddish?
No.
Kvell. It means like to take pride in someone's thing, like a parent watching their kid perform. It's like, oh, I'm kvelling over you. I'm so proud of you. I'm taking pride in your accomplishments. So I've been like kvelling. I've never missed one of your Netflix specials. And even when I saw you in LA, you were killing.
Oh, that's right. Dude. Yeah. You like that Man versus Food joke?
Dude, I was not expecting that. Me and Simon Rex, I was like, yeah.
I wrote that heading to the store that night because I had the joke about Tom sucking on my dick, but I didn't have the good line of on a very special episode of Man versus Food.
Oh no, I love it, and the boa constrictor joke and the whole this is what it would be like. I don't want to kill the whole setup, but it was brilliant. And the my regulator's broken, so unless there's a milking table, chef's kiss on that motherfucker. That's so good.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I when we did Constitution Hall, we did 2 shows, and I was like on the second show, and that's like Sunday night. The next 2 Thursdays when they shut it down. Sunday night, I heard someone cough in the audience, and I thought, and this, they've already talked about the virus spreading. No one had gotten it, it hadn't gotten to where it was. But I heard someone cough in that audience, and I thought, man, this is going to get real serious. I poured a drink backstage. I was like, guys, I think we're going to be shutting shit down next week. Got to fucking New Orleans, 6 o'clock. Doors open at 6. It's 5 o'clock. And they're like, yo, we're canceling the shows. And I've never canceled a show. The whole thing is show must go on. And I listened and I was like, that makes sense. Then you looked at all the people in the aisles, all the ushers. Not one of them was a day under 60. And you're like, oh, you would have just annihilated a ton of fucking people. So I don't know. I have not felt creative at all since shit shut down.
Really?
I've been doing podcasts, which are I tap out. I've been eating like fucking nuts. I've been running like crazy, but coffee's not working for me. I just don't feel like, I feel like all my friends are being hacky. Like all the jokes that are told, I'm like, man, give it a second. Like everyone's jumping out with a quarantine joke or a quarantine series. And I'm like,
Oh,
let it breathe.
no, I saw something they were trying to do. Like, I saw something in the trades, like they want to do like an office, but like if everyone had to commute to work via Zoom or whatever. And I was like, hard pass. Like because I've been studying screenwriting and I've been working on scripts, and I'm so glad it has nothing to do with the fucking pandemic. It has nothing to do with the isolation, because it's like done to death. Like if I see one more like play on words with quarantine, it's like, I'm drinking a quarantini. Do you guys want to join me for my live quarantine stream? Go fuck yourself. Like, I
Oh,
can't.
dude, I get to the point where like, and then you think of a joke, and then you go, and then you go, hold on, pump your brakes, for a second. Like I said, I was talking to Whitney Cummings, and I was like, I don't want to do something like, what am I gonna do? Like put panties on my face and be like, I got a new gas mask. And literally 10 minutes later, Jeff Ross shows up with panties on his face. I was like you're not gonna beat the greats out there. They're gonna be 2 steps ahead of you on a joke. So you're like, fuck it. I feel like I'm just like, I haven't drank, and so I feel like I'm getting healthy. And then I you think of, I got approached by our old bosses about a show.
I remember you mentioned that Mr. MB, initials MB, had come out to see one of your things,
Oh yeah,
right?
Oh no, I got approached by old school script type people.
Yeah,
like
for travel or for what?
No, for HGTV. That's what I said. What the fuck am I doing on that fucking? No, thanks.
By the way, do you know that you have like? I mean, I know you know how popular you are, but like in England, there was a great guy named Mikey on my crew. Loved you. I sent you a video message of he and I. He was so happy that he could send that video. So he started taking his shirt off.
Yeah,
like
I saw
11-degree weather. He was like, wait a minute, you know Bert Kreischer? And they're like, oh, I love him. Oh, he's fucking great. The guy with no shirt on. He like comes on, takes his shirt off with like the Russian mob. Tells like the stories of the Russian mob, yeah? Fucking hell, I love him. The Machine, yeah? You like the Machine? You know him? Fucking hell, I love that guy. Like, you are the bee's knees, my guy.
When was the last time you talked to Eric Beanie?
Oh, man. Eric Beanie is our, for those of you who don't know, 2-time Emmy-winning sound guy.
One of the funniest fucking guys in the world.
Easily. He and my BCAM op, Tom Dodson, are the 2 funniest guys on the show. Like, they're like, oh, you're so funny. I'm like, I'm dog shit compared to these guys.
Yeah.
I still use one of Eric Beanie's lines. We were in Hawaii. We finished the long day, and I treated everyone. We were driving by the North Shore, and I got them a piece of chocolate haupia. It's like a coconut custard pie. And Eric ate it. We're like in our 15-pass van. Eric ate it, threw the fucking plate and fork forward. Went, yeah, so I basically just fucked that with my face. I just spoke to Eric about a week or so ago. He's doing well. There was a little bit of a health scare in his family, in his immediate family. I don't want to put too much of his business in the street, but thank God they're on the other side of that. So I think that this is small potatoes compared to what they just went through.
Yeah.
He's obviously nervous about work. Obviously nervous because who needs a sound guy right now, and what sound guy with kids wants to go out on the road?
Yeah, dude. He gave me some of the best. Like I miss those early Travel Channel days, because they were some of the funnest times of my life. I was young. I didn't know. I just was hungry. I remember one time Eric was the first one to tell me, like, yo, I remember I got buzzed. We had a few beers, and we still had to do one read. And I was like, and I said something. I kept fucking the read up. I go, this is why you don't drink before your last take. And Eric pulled me aside. He's like, hey man, be real careful what you say. They get these audios. You never know the editor. He might pull it over, show it to Sharp. Be like, hey, listen, man, just so you know, your host's out there drinking. He was like, dude, he was like the best. And he had done that because he had worked with you. And he was like, dude, it's us out here. We're a team. And then what we give them is what we give them. Like, don't need to like cross over. Like we'll take care of each other out here because they're taking care of each other in there. That was like, I remember that so vividly. Those times, the only reason I did Bert the Conqueror was because of Man vs. Food.
What do you mean?
The only reason I took that fucking meeting with Dan Sharp was because I was obsessed with Man vs. Food. I was obsessed with it. And they said, hey, we got a meeting at Travel Channel. And I was like, with who? And they're like, well, it's the creators of Man vs. Food. I go, I'll take it. I took the meeting with Dan Adler and Bonnie, I think. No, it was another chick. Do you remember the other woman that was associated with them at the time?
Yeah, there's a few. Oh, there was Emily.
Maybe.
And then there was my showrunner, Allison.
I think it might have been Emily. They sat me down. They pitched me Bert the Conqueror, and I just passed. I passed, and I said, I sat down and I said, so let's talk about Man vs. Food. We talked about Man vs. Food for like legit, like 30 minutes, and then I said, and then they pitched me the show, and I said I politely passed, and they were like, well, hold on, and I said, well, listen, I don't think it's where I want to go in my career, and I don't think, I think it's my rate's gonna be too high, and they were like, well, hold on, let us throw out an offer, and let's, and I said, well, I think I passed. And then the president at the time, the president of the network, Michael.
It wasn't Zaslav. He was running Discovery. Were we still know about Discovery at that time?
Yeah, it was Charlie Parsons.
Charlie Parsons, Matt
Butler, and another dude, Michael Klein. David Klein or something. They came out and they were like, hey, we really think you'd be great for this show. You should really hear us out. And so I was like, okay. And so I took an offer. I went back. I ended up having to test for the show. I tested against one of the guys that tested for Man vs. Food, some power lifter. I don't know his name. Not a power lifter, really. He was a comic or whatever. And I ended up doing the show. And I remember saying to Dan Adler, I'm only doing this show because I liked Man vs. Food. This is the only reason I'm doing this show.
Well, that's, so it was Eric. So I had seen this. It was really, this is probably something I probably shouldn't put out there. I had seen, maybe it was on The Soup, and I never knew about Hurt Bert or any of the other stuff. So I had just seen the segment of you getting your ass waxed.
Yeah.
You had no beard.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that was you. I had seen it, thought it was one of the funniest things in my life, had seen it. I think it was on The Soup. And then Eric was like, yeah, there's this guy, Bert Kreischer, he's doing this show. And I said, who? And I said, oh, I've seen this guy. And then I went to the premiere party for you.
Yeah, I remember you.
I showed up at that bar, and then you started chanting Man vs. Food. I was like, really nice to meet you. And then I did the cameo when we went skydiving in Eloy, Arizona together. And
your memory is fucking like.
And do you remember we fucked with Dan? He wanted to know how it was going, and I said, it's okay, play along. And he wanted to know how it was, and said, the filming went well, but things went sideways afterwards. I told you to say this. I guess something like, I got to watch my sense of humor. I didn't realize Adam's father had died.
Yeah.
And then I was like, my fucking dad, dude, like whatever. And he was trying to like discipline you, calm me down. In the meantime, he's texting Bonnie, our director, going, Bonnie, separate them, get them in the other things, whatever else. And then I still have the picture. When you put this podcast up, I will give it to you if you want to cut it in.
Please.
Of you and I holding up the sign that says, Dan, we're fucking with you.
Yep.
But and I remember, I think they're like working out or playing tetherball next door. Can you hear that? I think there's some kind of medicine ball type of action. Yeah, very, very intense medicine ball.
Either workout. That hit or his wife really fucked up.
Just need to get outside. Oh, yeah. It could be a heavy bag. I feel you. But no, I and Eric Beanie, I actually owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to, because he's worked with like NHL legends and all this stuff, and bigger stars than I, for sure. And I remember he taught me something very, very valuable. He said, listen, and it wasn't like I was being a dick, but I think sometimes like if I was feeling a little over it, I guess I kind of let it know a little bit. And I said, listen, he goes, for you, it might be your 100th photo of the day, or it might be your 100th autograph of the day. But for some people, it might be the first or only time they ever meet somebody they've seen on television. And it was just like this aha moment. Like, yeah, of course. And really, he's just an exemplary human being. He's a good dad, good husband, like clearly an example I should follow when it happened.
Yeah, Beanie was always good for advice about that shit. I mean, it's so funny because I never got recognized. Like I'd be at theme parks. I was the guy that did the theme park show, and I still wouldn't get recognized. So if I ever got recognized, I was like through the roof. And now when it happens, I'm still like so excited. I was in the business probably 19 years before anyone gave a shit. So I was like,
you're killing the game now, though. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I remember someone recommending you were special to me, and they couldn't come up with your name, and were quoting your jokes verbatim, and they knew you were called the Machine, but they were like talking about the zip line, and I mean, all these. I'm like, it was so funny, and I'm like, are you talking about Bert Kreischer? And they're like, yeah. And like now, it's like I'm the guy who used to do Man versus Food. You're like, Adam Richman, the guy from 8 is Enough? I'm like, no, it's Adam Rich. Because people see me and they're like, wow.
Dude, I'll tell you what, when you talk about like inspirational, you're one of those guys. You went from taking a what it could have been a pass it around show that anyone did, and it just was a show like whatever. You took that show and put a stamp on it, and went from a guy that ate an 85-ounce steak to a guy who is, I think, every single year you're at the South Beach Wine and Music Festival. You're at the you're like legit respected.
Thanks, man.
The food industry. I mean, it's insane. But I think it's one of those things. It's like it's your brain. Your brain is just different than the average brain.
Wow, thanks, man. That's really flattering. I'm definitely not like the other children. I don't know if I'm necessarily smarter than anyone else. I mean, but like the thing is, for me, that I need to learn from you is your work ethic. I think that's the one thing during this quarantine that I'm really trying to keep up with. Because how do you have a routine when there's no routine? It's like, is it Saturday? Is it Friday? Like, all I know is I need to socially distance from my refrigerator for a little while. And like, I dropped coin on like a gym quality recumbent bike for my house. Because if like I'm going to sit here and binge watch, let me at least move my fat ass a little bit.
Bro.
Because, you just saw like the British Prime Minister just went into intensive care today.
I saw that.
And it's really like, it's becoming a matter. I mean, there's no ubiquitousness because you see healthy people like Chris Cuomo are getting it and stuff. That health is going to be like your biggest weapon, the mask, the social distancing, of course. But really, like, more and more, the more articles I read, the more research I've done. Yeah, your age group and whether or not you're a smoker, whether or not you're in contact with people that have it, but and I'm not like unconvinced that I was exposed. In fact, I'm fairly certain I was. But like now more than ever, it's like I got to be disciplined about sleep, about vegetables, about not drinking too much.
Like you've done it to great levels, like with weight loss. What has it been like? What do you find your downfall to be? Because I know mine's always been booze, but right now I'm not drinking.
Almost losing my career on Instagram in 2014.
Oh, dude. That, by the way, I remember when that went down and being like, are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly. When you compare, and I'm not condoning what I did, because can I tell you, it was never about like, woe is me, because I did that. Like, I couldn't turn to anyone. I had to be a grown ass man and take my lumps and acknowledge I behaved in a way that a grown man and a TV host couldn't. But above all, the one part that I think always got lost was that my crew lost a whole year's worth of work. That Eric and Greg Murphy, Tom Dodson, Rob Hobson, these amazing cameramen that I work with, Jules, Michelle, and Kat Pappas. Like, I had a wonderful, wonderful crew, and all the story editors back in New York, and they all lost work because of my lapse in judgment. And it was a slow news time. And what killed me was, I had done an interview with Don Lemon on CNN that I guess was supposed to be like the end all, because people are like, it's super simple. Just go on Kimmel and apologize. Like, yeah, super simple to just go on Kimmel. Like Jonah, because Jonah Hill had just called someone they used a homosexual slur.
He called someone a faggot. He said, "Suck my dick, faggot," which is, by the way, like, he was a young kid. Like, he was a kid in Hollywood. He was fucking buzzed, and these guys are fucking with him. And it's like, that's the learning curve. Like, I hate to say it, but like that, Jonah Hill, and I think he bounced back just fine. But like, that is a learning curve. Is you need that guy every now and then to teach you the lesson. And Jonah Hill should just be like, hey, you guys are welcome. I took a lot of heat for that, but hey, heads up, we got to stop using that word,
100%. And for me, they're like, I'm not Jonah Hill. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, don't think that I didn't try to get on every single talk show, and I did as much of an apology tour as I could. And, shout out to Sway, who gave me a chance to come on and apologize, and Kathy Lee and Hoda let me come on and say something. And, and it was hard, man. Like, they didn't make it easy. And I had done this interview with Don Lemon, and he gave me a good what for. And then all of a sudden there was a rocket attack in Gaza. It never aired. And I had the unfortunate happenstance of it happening in a slow news time, happening within 2 weeks of like 2 shows opening. I mean, it was like, what's that line from Rounders? Shout out to Brian Kopelman. There's a line in Rounders when they find out that Teddy KGB is who's really like who they're in debt to. And Matt Damon looks at Ed Norton and goes, "Oh, so you just fucked us right in the ass." He's like, "Yeah, all the way." And it was like, okay, so you have an NBC show coming out, a Travel Channel show. You're in the best shape of your life. This could be a major turning point for you. And like, that's when you choose to pour sugar in your gas tank. Nice one, dickhead. And literally, and all I kept thinking about, though, was because I know how our crew, and even our crew's back, our editors, they're permalance. And they lost all that work because I exhibited poor judgment one poorly rested day on Instagram and quoted The Godfather that I had just been watching. And it was ugly and it was disrespectful. And I have a mom and a stepmom, and I had to answer for dropping the C-bomb at a lady to the women in my family. I have female showrunner, a female director, a female PA on the show. It was a rough time. So yeah, I hit, because that's the only time. TMZ don't give a fuck about me. Like, they've talked to me about, how do you feel if you're eating 5-pound burritos and people are starving? Like, they've done that shit a bunch of twice, but like, not like this. So I just hid in my house and didn't turn the lights on and just ate and watched The Office and played video games and just got fat again.
Dude, it's, what can I tell you? And I know I'll probably get blasted for this. I remember reading the tweet. I remember reading it was an Instagram post. I remember reading your thing was like, "Hey, I look good. I busted my ass. I'm very proud of myself." And you used the hashtag Thinspiration, which I did not find offensive. I didn't find it triggering.
I didn't know it had been co-opted by pro-ana groups.
Whatever.
People had told me, "You're my Thinspiration," and I just thought it was a portmanteau of thin and inspiration. But yeah.
But I went over. But still, I remember being I remember reading that and going, you can't. I remember reading what they were writing and going, you can't blame him. Like, he's just busted his ass and kicked and fucking lost the weight, which all of us are trying to do. Look, clearly there are a lot of fat activists who do not want to lose the weight. I listen to Lindy West talk about, and by the way, Lindy and West and I have no brand collateral, like there's no cross branding in Lindy West and I at all. But she's inspiring because when I was dealing with getting fat shamed by Segura, I read this article or listened to this interview she did about coming out to her family as fat and going like, hey, I just want to be happy. And like, it was really fucking cool. It's really cool to hear the other side. However, the other side needs to listen to the other side also. Like, I'm listening to Lindy West, and I'm not using Lindy as an example. I think Lindy's a really interesting, brilliant writer. But I'm listening to Lindy West. I need that girl that lit you up to listen also. Because she didn't seem like she gave a fuck that you had busted your ass.
She also wanted money. She wouldn't do interviews unless they paid. But I want to get into the nitty-gritty. The biggest thing that hurt was when the I'm trying to think what I can say apropos of documents I've signed, but when Travel Channel didn't comment either way, postponed the show, it brought more attention. And then there was this Washington Post article, but the Washington Post article was only using this girl's blog account as the only source of information. I was never contacted. And so the only screenshots were of what I said, not what was said to me. Now, again, I don't condone my response. And again, my biggest regret is because you got to also remember, it's not just my crew. We had, I think, 18 more episodes to shoot of season 2 of Secret Eats. And think about that. That's, 30, 40 some odd restaurants at least.
Oh, yeah.
That
would have all gotten blown up big time on Travel Channel, but it all changed their lives.
And they lost it. I smell something burning. Sorry. I just got concerned. I'm like, oh, it's next door. Sorry, I smell something.
You know what that is? That's a nail gun, I bet.
I don't know. It's maybe it sounds like they're boxing, but no, I smell the smoke. But yeah, that was the thing, that like all those restaurants that were looking forward to filming with me, that I was looking forward to filming, places I wanted to travel. And again, guys like Beanie lost the work, and the thing is, I want to say one thing to shout him out though. When they remounted the show, they offered it to him, and he wouldn't do the reboot out of loyalty. That's a good friend right there, because the reboot was the source of burned bridges with the same people that I had built the show with, and it's heartbreaking when I think of that, because when I think of those early days, it was magic. But it's not show friends, it's show business, and that was my wake up call. Did you ever work with Dan Akiba?
No, yeah. No, I think I did once.
He's the guy that I referred to in Secret Eats a lot as the curmudgeon.
Yeah.
Like Dan Akiba literally uttered the phrase once, I don't hate ice cream, I just hate how much people like it. Yeah, actually, like that's literally how he thinks. And he like makes fun of people that are like, oh, you have a creative job, it's cool. Like, he's so angry. Anyway, I think it was around the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I was at Kennedy, and I was coming home, and I saw him loading pelicans into a van. And I was like, Dan. I went over and I gave him a hug, and I was like, what's going on? Are you about to go shoot? He's like, I'm coming back from a shoot, obviously. So we're like, I've been arrivals. I'm like, duh, of course. I said, what were you shooting? And he froze, and he's like, and like literally, it was just like Michael and Fredo. I was like, you broke my heart. But it's tough, you know what I mean? Like those first 10 episodes on the road with Dan, John Sember, Peter Fackler, you know.
Peter Fackler. Holy shit. I haven't talked, dude. I'll tell you. So Peter Fackler was, for everyone listening, was the
director of photography.
Director of photography. Now I shared two of your ex-director of photography, Scott Sands and Peter Fackler. Scott Sands was the community school learned how to shoot movies, TV show guys, and Peter Fackler was the Ivy League. I learned how to shoot TV. That's what they looked like, right? So Scott Sands, anytime I shot something for Bert the Conqueror, he would do it first. He would do the activity first. This is before GoPros. You had to wire a pack onto your back and then harness it into a helmet, tether it with a wire.
You're the guy who wanted to swim with sharks.
Oh, dude. And then Peter Fackler was like very prim and proper. I think they ended up breaking. Did they break up? He had a beautiful girlfriend who was a TV show host.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she was a Mets correspondent.
Yes.
Julie. So and Scott was, I don't know if he still is, with Camille from Food Wars.
No, bro. I was in the center of all that.
He broke that shit up. Yeah.
Oh, that's gossip, right? Dude, I miss these times at Travel Channel so much.
All this tea right now. We're never going to work again.
Scott Sands, by the way, Scott Sands is Scott Sands is, God, one of the funniest guys. He's doing forestry up in northern New York now, I think, isn't he?
I don't know. I when he was no longer shooting the show, and it's weird. We had DP drama even on the international season of Secret Eats that I just did. You know, it's crazy. It's really the road crew. For those of you who don't know, you know, Man vs. Food, Bert, shot with a handful of people, right? I mean, It's 2 cameras, a sound guy. We hired makeup locally. I did my own wardrobe and a director. Maybe there was a production coordinator or one PA or an intern, maybe. But
it was it was like a family. You'd go out. I really genuinely miss those times of like you'd rap and go, hey, what are we doing now? And everyone would be like, oh, let's go look at restaurants. Oh, there's a great steakhouse. And then you play credit card roulette and I miss those times so much.
Yeah, the same. And like, especially that first season of Secret Eats, you know, and I was getting in great shape at that time. I had lost most of the weight in Fandemonium and then really leaned into the soccer thing. And I was feeling better about myself. My director, Kat, directed 6 seasons of Wife Swap, and she's brilliant. And I was just, it was clicking. And that's the other reason that it killed me that I had sabotaged it, just because it was such a good show. And then Travel Channel, when I, you know, had said I didn't want to do Search for the Next Man versus Food, as sort of, I don't know if it was recompense, but they buried the show behind the Olympics. They aired 2 a night opposite the Olympics. So naturally, you know, it got the same ratings as like, you know, Cars for Kids commercials.
Dude, I did a show for Travel Channel called Scream If You Know the Answer, and they aired it. I remember getting the air date, and they're like, so you're going to be airing Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. And I went, that can't be good, right? Dude, the only thing I miss the family, I miss the upfronts, I miss the cruise, I miss like watching episodes and being excited to like shoot cool stuff. I miss like when we did Trip Flip, you get a call in February or January and they go, hey, name 13 places you want to go in the world. I miss that. What I don't miss at all is being powerless. Like I always felt very powerless at that network, that I would have a great idea, or I'd want to do something, or I'd have a way to promote, and I'd bring it and they'd be like, we got it. And then they just shift you to a different time slot, or they'd move you to a different night to build the night, and you'd lose whatever momentum you had. That's the only
or over air.
Oh, I mean, Man vs. Food was on. It was you and Bourdain ran the network.
But I remember one time they were like, "Oh, the first run numbers are down." We're like, "And why? Why do you think?" Like, and it took your. Are you still with Max?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
still
yeah,
with
man.
Max? And it took them saying, "No, dude, he's accounting for like, over 60% of the programming in the quarter because there was no impetus to watch the new season because it was just on all the time, like the new episode." It's just like, and I remember being with my director Tony on Man vs. Food Nation and just asking people like, "Hey, what day is Man vs. Food on?" And we were originally Wednesday, and people would be like, "Oh, dude, Saturday I watch it while I'm pre-gaming. Oh, Sunday I watch it while I'm recovering. Oh, Wednesday it's like the midweek thing I watch with my kids." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's great to have a show that's that repeatable, and I'm blessed to have had the opportunity, and I'm not ungrateful for that one iota. But I can relate to what you're saying. But look, the network gave me my big break,
Oh
got me my
God.
foot in the door. So, and I forgot about Trip. That's so crazy. I remember you hosting the blooper show.
Yeah, yeah. That was the best when they called me and they said we want to offer you a deal. I was like, game changer. I opened a bottle of wine and lit a joint, and I was like, dude, this is what I've been wanting my whole life. And then getting fired, ultimately getting fired from Travel Channel was the best thing that ever happened to me because I would have just wanted to be there. It was like, and I didn't have the career you had. Like, I never met Bourdain. I barely knew Andrew Zimmern. I never met any of the people, or not even that I didn't meet them, but like they just didn't give a fuck about meeting me. Does that make sense? Like,
I don't necessarily know that's true, but I think, guys like Tony had such a wall around them and had so many layers of people around them that they had installed because they wanted that buffer. I was blessed that Andrew agreed to do my show season 1. And honestly, I think I'm a pretty decent human being. I always want to I think high tides float all boats. But like, I remember.
By the way, so let me stop you right there. Your high tide floated my boat into a season 2. Definitely.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, Andrew did my show. Of course, I'm going to do your show. And I don't think that people generally think like that anymore. I think there's a lot of me mind, what did my boy Zero call people? Like, you're a me monster. And I think there is just about that. And I think that there's not a lot of selflessness. Maybe that'll change after this. But one thing that I think the public deserves to know. So Diplo, as you know, briefly had a show on Travel Channel that I think aired once or half an episode or something. And we all did that upfront movie, that video we all did together. And then we go out to the whiskey bar at the W in Manhattan. And I still, like, I tell people you did this and they're like, with Diplo there. I'm like, mm-hmm. And I remember going there when I had neither pot to piss in nor window to throw it out of. And I'll never forget this crowded bar, pretentious, sexy ass New Yorkers. You got up fucking so loud. You're like, everybody, be quiet. Everybody, stop talking. Everybody, please, be quiet. My wife doesn't know I drink. Hi, honey. It was fucking amazing. Like, I turned to Diplo, like, what? That was one of the best things ever.
That was the peak of when that was like game-changing Travel Channel. That's where I was like, oh, it's all our way up. I mean, it was like me, you, the Ghost Adventures, Diplo. That was like insane. And then shortly thereafter, I felt like I was lost in that network.
Well, there was a lot of sort of silly things. Like, for example, I had a show on the air at that time called Best Sandwich in America. And initially,
to this day, fucking, I still would argue that Dinnick's does not live up to the way you fucking sold it. And by the way, I've had that sandwich 3 times. The best Dinnick's I've ever had, I wrapped up, I took with me back to the hotel, got it to the hotel, and it was fucking murderous. But man, a couple times I've been there and it wasn't the best.
That's possible. That's very possible. And
I love that show, also, man.
And Andrew, thank you, man. And Andrew Zimmern's sandwich, it was tough. That was the hardest one between the Yardbird at Slow's Barbecue and Tilia at Minneapolis, amazing fish sandwich. Those two were, and Bourdain was in that show. Bourdain did a cameo.
Really?
I got him. Yeah, I got him, Bobby Flay, Batali, Jay Baruchel, Will
Jay
Hogue.
Baruchel?
Yeah, he did the
saw
West
This
Coast.
Is the End last night.
Dude, I just saw that looking out my window. Yeah, no, he is just at least virtually has been one of the nicest, sweetest human beings. We've never actually hung out. It's been like a Twitter romance, I guess. But a nicer, sweeter guy there is none. And he recommended a place in LA on La Cienega called JR's Barbecue. And we filmed there because of Jay. But anyway, yeah, I was doing that show, and we were initially, I said, let's do it like conferences. We could air it again during March. We could do like March Madness, and then they condensed the episodes, and then they burned, in my opinion, the most hotly contested one, which was the Northeast, in the first episode, and people just immediately tuned out. But it was also the 100th anniversary of the sandwich, and we did no activation. And yet the people that were doing that Sandcastle show, Sandmasters, they did like this huge activation in Times Square. But you have the one sandwich show, and I'm like, just put me with a sandwich board giving out free sandwiches in Times Square.
Yeah.
And so I think that there was a little bit of like some opportunities lost. But that's the thing. Like, I'm inspired by you. Like, I see your Instagram stories are so. Do you edit those and produce those yourself?
No, yeah, I just shoot them. I'll tell you what. This sounds really crazy. So a couple times, like, and this was always my kind of cross to bear, was like I was getting hired to do shows on Travel Channel that were.
It's 7:00. Everyone's clapping in New York. Can you hear?
Oh yeah! Holy shit! Holy shit, man!
Woo! It's 7:00. People are like up on roofs right there, clapping.
Holy crap, man! That's crazy. I got to experience that.
Woo! Crazy.
That is insane.
People are up on their roof, on their fire escapes, banging pots and pans. You can hear someone's ringing a bell. I see someone's holding a bell on their fire escape.
Dude, that's the coolest thing about New York. We don't have that in LA.
Really? Y'all don't do stuff for the first responder every day at 7? Wow, that's wild. Yeah, people going ham on it. It's, New York's really taking a hit. It's our comptroller's mother died 2 nights ago, and someone with whom I had a friendship, the amazing chef Floyd Cardos. We just lost him. He just died from Tabla Restaurant in New York.
Yeah.
And Floyd was a wonderfully amazing man, a great chef. So it's crazy. But yeah, they're still going, man. They're still going. Sorry.
No, I don't even remember what I was saying. That's so cool, man. LA's kind of weird like that. But I think it's also proximity. I think you guys get to share cool moments,
But maybe that absence of proximity is what's keeping y'all alive. That's my biggest fear with my mom. She's not in a huge apartment building, but she's in like an older apartment building. She's not in the heart of the city. But still, I told her, I said, I need you to think like a murderer. Like, sort of like, what did I touch? You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like, you know what I mean? Oh, like, where did I possibly leave a fingerprint? That, I think of that old movie with, was it Alan Arkin called Wait Until Dark? Like, the idea of, I left fingerprints on this and this and this, that I said when you go, because, she's got one of those old school elevators that when the elevator comes up, you have to open the door.
Oh, shit.
And go in and press the button. And when you get to the floor, you have to push the door. So I said to her, I said, you have to remember that door for any delivery guy, they're touching that door. And they're touching the other door. And then there's 2 glass doors. There's like the front door to the street. Then there's the place with the bells, to be buzzed up. You lived in New York. So then
Yeah.
there's that secondary door. So it's like you have your front door, 2 elevator doors, an elevator buttons, 2 more doors just to go outside. So that's why I was like, please, for the month of April, because they've said, that you heard yesterday, they're like, it'll be like Pearl Harbor.
It's so scary, man. It's so scary to think that a city like New York, where it's just it's such its own thing, possibly could be changed, that my daughter never gets to see it the way I saw it,
Yeah, when you realize that, so that was the other thing that really scares me. Like as we do this, I don't know when you're going to post it, but 8 governors still have yet to mandate stay at home.
It's crazy.
And the governor of Georgia, now I lived in the great state of Georgia for 6.5 years, started my acting career there and my culinary career there. Like, I'm working in restaurants since I'm 13, but I worked like in a restaurant, worked at a bakery, like worked in the food industry as much as I got my first 10 Actors Equity Union points in Atlanta. I love that city. I know it very, very well. The fucking governor of Georgia said 4 days ago that he just found out that asymptomatic people could be carriers. And that's nonsense. Padma Lakshmi tweeted, she's like, I'm really dumb, and I knew that. And the governor's mansion is maybe 14 minutes away from the front door of the CDC. So you're like, how in blue fuck did you not know, dude? How did you not know? And a swarthy Jew from Brooklyn who used to eat 5-pound burritos for a living is like, yes, COVID-19 is a variety of the coronaviruses that are often found in animals. And did you hear that the tiger at the zoo?
Dude, how does a tiger who fucked that tiger?
Jesus Christ. No, they said the keeper, and he was asymptomatic, or she was asymptomatic.
Really?
The keeper tested positive, had no symptoms, and that tiger and the other tigers have it now.
Dude,
and
tigers are getting a lot of fucking press these days.
What is up with why Tiger King? Why is that the thing? I'm sure there's other stuff like yours special, Tom Segura's special.
Hey, let me tell you something. Who gives a fuck? Tiger King's bringing a lot of traffic to Netflix, and we're all fucking getting love. You, like you said, the high tide raises.
Do you get paid every time someone watches it?
I wish. No, you get paid at the beginning, and then they used to not share numbers with you. They share numbers nowadays. I guess maybe when your numbers are good, they share numbers. Who fucking knows?
What's your most popular special?
This one, by far.
Yeah?
By far, yeah.
Why do you think that is? Just because your name and your recognition is where it is now?
No, because the government said there's a pandemic. Everyone get in your houses, and my special dropped.
I think you're very humble, though, because I was in the room. No, it's Simon Lex and I were in the room. I have to say, there were other recognizable comics there. I forgot that Tony Rock was a comic, honestly. Dissing Tony Rock. I was like, that's right. But you came out, and it was like our buddy Bert. It was really interesting. It was a very interesting dynamic washed over the room. And it was interesting to me that Rogan pulled you aside to give you notes and feedback, because to the layperson, you had fucking killed it. And what was, first of all, and again, as a man who possesses somewhat of a panda bear physique, to see the response that you got by taking your shirt off, I was like, there's hope for me yet. Because being alone during this is like punishment for having been a fuckboy, in my youth. It's like, great, asshole, you don't want to commit? Here's a pandemic, and you will never see a vagina again in 2020. You know what I mean? Enjoy that free Pornhub. And, I'm over here microwaving grapefruits and cutting holes in them and stuff. And, but you came out, and I'll say something else. And again, not trying to give you a dick food solo. A lot of the other comics were, instead of having jokes, it was just about saying shit to the audience and going off on the audience and clever quips about the audience, as opposed to set up whatever. And I think that the audience appreciates that. How do you write jokes on a treadmill? I've seen your stories where you're like, I'm out here writing jokes Is it like you're running and you think of something?
I can write if I write really good if I walk at like a 3.5, 3.7 on the treadmill. For some reason, that pacing reminds me of walking in New York, and I could really walk and write in New York. So I have a joke. I have a tablet next to me, and I have my phone. So I'll just go into my phone and voice dictate it. But I'll just like I don't know, my mind kind of wanders. And right now, mostly what I do now when I write is I'm trying to find something big, or like I'll write like I'll write the beginning of a joke. Like this is one I wrote today on the treadmill. I wrote
Right. Sneak peek.
I wrote there's something about British accents that when they're on your side you love them, but when they're against you you hate them. And so so I just write that, and then I'll go through it, and then I'll kind of keep my ear to the floor waiting for something to pop up that slides into that algorithm, and then I go, oh, British accents are like penises. When they're pressed up against you, like, and I'll be like, oh, that'll work. What was the other one I did like that the other day?
That's a great observation, though.
Oh, yeah, but it was just because there was a British guy I hated, and I was like, enough with your fucking accent. We get it. Everything you say is smart. Didn't
Eddie Izzard talk about that? How like Brits are like always the villains. That's why like everyone in the Empire was British.
Oh, yeah. Dude. The funniest one was happened to me the other day. I was driving down the street with my daughters. So we went to our new house that we bought has a lot of land, but we're not doing anything with it right now. So we'll take the dogs over there and let them run around, and then we put them in the car and we drive back. So I guess, I don't know, it's before things went super bad. Like you could still be in groups of 10 is what the rule was here. And so you'll get a kick out of this. And so there's a temple by our new house, and we're driving, and we get to the stoplight, and there's a group of of Orthodox Jews on the corner, like maybe like 10 of them, and they're I don't know what, they're just waiting for the light so they can cross the street. And I hear my daughter go, ugh. And I go, Isla. I go, what did you do that? Because they're Jewish? And she goes, no, social distancing, Dad. And I went, oh, sorry.
Why did you go there?
That's what, in my head, I was like, why would you, Isla, it's their religion. And she's like, why would I say if they're Jewish? Why would I dislike them if they're Jewish, Dad? And I was like, I don't know. I just heard you in the back go, ugh. And I was like, Isla, they're people
to
too.
Like bedding sales. She's like, I want to buy extra sheets.
They're great tailors, Isla.
Oh, man. Well, Isla, you're officially invited to the Seder. No, actually, I have to say, I speak Hebrew. I went to yeshiva, or like Solomon Schechter Day School, so religious Jewish school for 9 years. The Orthodox Jewish community, of which I have some family members in, is kind of on my shit list now. And they are so one of the most concentrated and rapidly spreading clusters in Brooklyn is in the Orthodox Jewish community.
Really?
Because despite the warnings, they were still so. I don't know if you know this, but in Judaism, traditionally, when you have to have a service, you have to have something called a minyan or a minyan, which means you have to have at least 10 people that have had a bar mitzvah to pray. So they were still gathering in homes to pray. Like I had gone to one of my Orthodox cousins' home years ago when a relative had passed, and they asked if I would pray with them because they needed a minyan. And men came over from like other homes and stuff. They're like, we're looking for somewhere to say the evening prayer. So despite the warnings of social distancing, they were still getting together. They just showed a funeral 3 days ago. Guys are walking, holding the coffin, belly to chest to belly. I mean, belly to back rather, holding the coffin and in a cluster. Like, this is, Bert, I'm shitting you not, 3-4 fucking days ago. And still nothing. And then they found that there were some temples that would close the front door for appearances and let people in the back door. And it's driving me crazy because one of the tenets of the Bible, like, so Yom Kippur, you're supposed to fast. But one of the things you're always taught is that you're biblically told that preservation of life and preservation of the gift of life is paramount. So if that's the case, and you know that gathering will hurt you and hurt others, how can you say you are embarking on a biblical or a godly activity if it hurts you, if it hurts other people you love?
Yeah.
And I was about to put out a tweet, and I'm like, what fucking Orthodox Jew is reading? Yankel's gonna be there. What? The guy from Basic Cable a few years ago said they should get together. Like, what the fuck is gonna be like? It's like saying, yo, those Amish pissed me off. I'm gonna fucking tweet those guys. Your buggies are too slow. Fuck your barn raising, son. Yeah, that's effective. I should be there with like a fucking blanket doing smoke signals. I'll have better luck.
Oh God, that's so crazy. And you know, it's the same things happen with Christians. Is the hardcore Christians? They all went to a church and they were interviewing them leaving, and the girl goes, "I'm bathed in the blood of Jesus Christ. I'll be fine." And I was like, "Honey, that's not how it works."
And pastors just died. Like a pastor in Brooklyn just passed away. A teacher, a guy. You know, that's the thing too, right? It's the I don't have any of that immortal, like I'm invincible shit. Like I know I'm very mortal. But I think about this, like people younger than me have been passing away left, right, and center. People my age have been passing away.
Dude.
And it spreads so fast. And I mean, and people, like you said, like your friends, your daughter's friends were like, let's go to the park. That it's just, how are 8 governors, 8 individuals who are in charge of an entire territory of the United States still not getting that the only way to stop this thing from going, like becoming a mass extinction event, is staying away from each other till you can find a vaccine, which is 18 months off, they say?
Dude, I started getting panic going. I don't think things are going to get back to normal for another 18 fucking months.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really have that in my head where it made me depressed the other day where I said to Leanne, I was like, what if life doesn't get back to normal for another fucking year and change? Like, what are we going to do? She's like, we're just going to figure it out.
I mean, that's really all you can do, right? Like, you know, I trust me, you don't think I'm terrified of, you know, I've got a mom that's in her 70s. I mean, thank God she's in good health. She's taking care of herself.
Yeah.
But I have a backyard. She doesn't. She doesn't have a balcony. So it's like I think about, you know, that what that could do to your psyche and having to stay there. And I honestly think that there'll be a level of PTSD that we all experience. And that's not me trying to be like glib about PTSD, but I think that there are traumas that we will undergo. I think social interaction, you know what I mean? Like, how are men, again, I'm a civilized human being, you're a civilized human being, but how are less civilized human beings going to interact around the opposite sex the first time they're around them?
Like
when
fucking
you have everything,
wolves.
Right? Like when they've been repressed, it's going to be like banging the tin cups on the fucking prison bars. You know, I think about what is social interaction going to be like? Because the thing that every expert is saying, it's going to dip and then it's going to flare up again. I also, you know, you think about people passing away and people can't hold their relative's hand or be by their bedside when it happens. They have temporary morgues, like they're using refrigerator trucks in all these cities now because they can't bury them, they can't examine them, they can't do any kind of ritualistic preparation of the body, which is also kind of bananas. But you know, the one thing I think about, a kid I went to grad school with said, I'll never forget this. He said, say you're leaving a supermarket and your car's at like the far end of the parking lot and it's pissing rain, right? 2 choices, right? You could sprint to the car, throw the bags in kind of haphazardly, fumble for your keys, get in the car, slam the door. Or you can walk to your car, put the bags in carefully the way they're supposed to, unlock the door, and get in the car. In both cases, you're soaking wet. In only one case are you ready to operate a motor vehicle. I think we're in the rain. We're in the rain. It's how we choose to endure. And there'll be highs and lows, and you're blessed to have a wife and two awesome kids. You know what I mean? And for those of us who are alone, it's incumbent upon us to keep ourselves occupied and creative. Please help keep me relevant. You're way more famous than I am now.
Yeah,
so just, periodically throw the man versus food joke in. They're like, I remember that guy. Like, people see me and they're like, they go, oh, Jay Leno looks great, but Fred Savage looks terrible.
I feel like I said to the girls the other day, I said, they wanted to go to Georgia. Was like, come on, Dad. All the girls are going to the park. I said, you can't. I said, you're in a weird place, honey. I said, listen, I put what you look like on social media. So if someone sees you in the park, they could videotape you, and then it comes back to us, and it's a fucking nightmare. And then that's a reflection of you. I'm sorry I did that to you, that I put you everywhere, but that's a reflection on you. I was like, if you two want to go ride your bikes all the fuck you want, but you're not stopping and mingling with people. It's just not going to happen. She's like, okay. And then she said, it's not fair because, Tom and I still do our podcast. We do social distancing. We're 6 feet away. We come in the studio. We don't touch. No one touches. It's just me and him in the studio, and we exit, right? Everything's cleaned top to bottom. And we're super careful so that we can do the podcast because both of us feel like it does provide a service for people looking for entertainment.
100%.
She goes, it's not
100%.
fair. She goes, it's not fair. You hang out with Tom. You get to Zoom with Bill Burr. Like, you're hanging out with your friends. I got to just, all of a sudden, I just got to, go from zero. And then she said, it's easy for you to stay home, Dad. You spent the last 10 years on the road partying your balls off. And I went, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's totally easy. I've been traveling since I was 36, and I'm slowed for 10 years. I've been traveling every fucking week. And now I'm like, so this is the house. This isn't a bad house.
Yeah, but I mean, you've really built like this huge. Is it hard sleeping on the bus? I've been on one or two tour buses, and I know that's like that kind of bunk bed vibes, right?
No. I have the back room. I have a bedroom in the back.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I pay for the bus. By the way, buses are expensive as fucking shit. So
you pay for it?
Oh, yeah.
There's no booking agency that handles all of your dates?
Nope.
How? Really?
So
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
So UTA books my tour out, and then I negotiate with the promoter a deal. My deal is a little complicated right now because it's a little different than everyone else's deal. But ultimately, I negotiate a fucking straight up flat rate with a promoter, and me and him deal with him and UTA deal off to the side, and then that promoter goes out and gets the theaters. But it's like a fucking set in stone, and so we have stuff that comes off the top, like crafts, stuff like anything on your rider comes off the top, anything. But ultimately, I pay for it. I could negotiate to get that money. It's just whether or not it comes off the top. It matters on whether or not you have to pay your managers and agents off of that money. But the bus is something that I kind of looked at and was like, it makes my life a lot easier. I don't drink as much. I'm a lot healthier. I work out every day, and it's a lot more enjoyable. So,
what's more, if you don't mind, man, what's more lucrative, the touring to stand up or doing things like Netflix?
Ooh, it's really hard.
I mean, I know that Netflix is filming your stand up, but
I would say touring is way more lucrative. It's a lot more work, but it's way more lucrative. Like, I'll never give up touring. And especially theaters. Once you start doing theaters, it gets exponential. Like, your first run of theaters, you don't make very much money. It depends. If you add shows, you make money, but if you don't add shows, you're kind of like, you make less than if you were doing clubs. When you're doing clubs and you're selling out weekends at clubs and adding shows, you're making bank. But when you go to theaters, you cut that money in half, theoretically. But if you add shows, you get the lion's share of the second show. So on that first show on a theater, you got to pay for the curtain, the security guards, the chairs. You got to pay for everything.
Wait, the curtain?
Everything.
What do you mean you pay for the curtain?
I went to a theater one time and there was a charge for a curtain.
Like someone to operate it?
No, I had to rent the fucking curtain from the theater. I had to rent
the
curtain for like $500. So like, I'll give you a broad number. This isn't real, right? This is definitely not real, but it'll be able to wrap your head around it. So say you have 1,000 people coming to a theater, and you've charged $20 tickets, and you're getting 20 grand. Well, theoretically, if you are a comic and you're doing one show at that theater, then you will probably walk with like $5,000 because you got to rent the curtain, you got to rent the space, you got to rent everything. You got to rent the dudes, you got to pay the guys who do the sound, you got to pay for everything. Now, here's the catch. Say you add a second show. Well, you've already rented all that shit. So your second show, whereas you make $5 grand on the first show, you'll make 17 grand on the next show. So it really behooves you to do 2 shows in theaters.
Damn. What was the tipping point when you knew that? Because I mean, you're a good host. I hope you're aware of that. Like, people think that it's just like, I'll get in front of the camera and I've got personality. That they don't realize that you have the technical aspects of not just staying open to camera or
being able to do a read or listen to people.
Well, taking exposition, and this squirrel was some shit behind me, and like taking exposition and making it interesting. But there's also something to be said for like moving a narrative along. You're the engine of the whole thing. So you have to know where you are, act 2, act 3, act 4. So, but like at what point in your life, and I'll be dead ass, and I don't want you to tell me now because I'll watch it, but I don't know the Russian mob story. That's a difference for a different time. I legit don't. And I know it's like, Mikey was like, you don't? Aren't you his friend? I said, I love Bert with all my heart, but I don't know it. But what was the moment that you knew you wanted to do stand-up? You just got off a press tour. Is that like the last fucking question?
No. That all anyone wanted to talk about today was how I shit the bed interviewing Adam Sandler. Oh, dude, it was so bad. It was so bad.
What did you interview him on?
We did this benefit to raise money for comics who are losing work for, that are living hand to mouth. And I got a chance to interview him, and I'm such a fan of his. I fanboyed out, and I got like distracted like a squirrel, and I fucked up the name of every one of his movies. I was like, my daughters and I just watched Happy Madison, and he was like, oh, okay. I was like, we're gonna watch your new movie, Precious Gems. He was like, great. I mean, I asked him if he had Netflix, Adam. He was like, yeah, I have Netflix. He has a $200 million deal at Netflix. He's like, yeah, I have Netflix.
He has a $200 million deal at Netflix?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is third iteration of that deal. It's now $600 million. Yeah. But to answer your question, I
heard that Adam Sandler was making $600 million, and I was like, I want some of that.
Oh, by the way, that's why I'm writing a script for me and Tom. I was like, Tom and I, if we're gonna make fucking legit money in the next 10 years, it's gonna be a $600 million deal at Netflix. So
they've passed on 2 shows I brought them.
It's, it's hard to. They have a really hard time with what we do. Like, they have a really hard time figuring out that nut because it's a different thing for them. Like, I don't know if it's 22 minutes. I don't know if it's an hour. I don't know. They haven't figured it out. They've tried it a bunch, and you watch act breaks happen, and it just the storytelling of what we do or what we've done for our entire careers is not. It doesn't lend itself to Netflix yet. Someone's got to crack that code, and I'm fucking fascinated by that.
But as a comic, I think you have, because doesn't Netflix have its own comedy, even like Twitter handle?
Oh,
like
yeah,
Netflix comedy.
Yeah,
Netflix is a joke. Yeah,
I just did a series for them that I should be airing soon. But yeah, that should be just called Comedians in a Cabin Getting Canceled. All we do is break every fucking rule.
Wait. I remember seeing Whitney on her stories. What's it called? Cabin Fever or something?
Doesn't even have a title. By the way, we don't have an intro. I'm supposed to shoot something tonight for them because we haven't figured our intro out. It is just us breaking every fucking rule that you're not supposed to do. I mean, at one point, Tom Segura dismembers an emu. I mean, it's just like dude, it is fucking insane. Anyway,
And then like there I am trying to pitch these shows. I had gone to them with Shed Media, who created Who Do You Think You Are? The show where like you know, people retrace their roots and find out, you know, where they found out that Larry David and Bernie Sanders were related and all that stuff. And the show was called Who Made It First? And it was like this investigation into like these iconic foods that are disputed. Who actually made the first Sunday buffalo wing, potato chip, and so on.
Yeah.
And it was going to be using the research team from Who Do You Think You Are and me hosting and literally kind of sleuthing out who made it first. And we had a few meetings and it was like, I thank you, but no thank you. We want Tiger King. But also like You, that popular show You with was it Ken Badgley or whatever? That was on Lifetime. That was an old Lifetime thing that they bought and retooled and remarketed. And it's like a major hit now.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man, to figure out what works at Netflix. I really don't know. All I know is that our comedy specials seem to find an audience there, that they've isolated those comedy fans to know to look for specials. And they put you in such good fucking, like they put you in like with Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr, and you're like, and then your name's right there with them. And then people think you're their equal. And me and Segura do okay, but we're no Chappelle.
Well, you know what? I interrupted because you were telling me about, by the way, isn't Happy Madison his production company? You should get a pass.
That's why I fucked up. That's why I fucked up.
But no, so what was the moment that you were like, this is what I want to do?
So I had been funny in college. Like I had been really funny in college. Like to the point where people were like, man, you are funny. You should be a comedian. And I remember being like, how do you do that? And then obviously Rolling Stone wrote that article about me. And this morning show put together a stand-up night at a place called Potbelly's in Tallahassee. And they were like, hey, do you want to headline it? I'd never done stand-up. They brought 4 comics, each doing 20 minutes before me. I went up and I did stand-up, no preparation, just went on stage and just improv'd it. And I remember very clearly getting off stage and having a thought. When I was a kid growing up, there was this guy named Brad Radke, who was my age, who ended up pitching for the Twins. And anytime he played, all the parents were like, he's going to go pro. Anytime he played, he's going to go pro. And I remember saying to my dad one time, upset in the car, I said, why don't you ever say that about me? And my dad goes, buddy, I hate to break your heart. You're not going pro. You're not natural the way he is. Like there's something about him that this is what he was put on the earth to do, is throw a baseball. And I went, not me. And he goes, no, you'll find your thing, but it's not baseball. I mean, you're good at baseball, but it's not baseball. And man, I did stand up and I called my dad. I went back to my apartment, called my dad, and I said, do you remember how Brad Radke was meant to throw a ball? He said, yeah. I go, I was meant to be on stage, Dad. He was like, really? I go, this is my thing. And he was like, all right, move to New York.
Love that story.
Yeah. But I mean, Brad Radke was so good. He was so fun. And I'm nowhere as good as in stand-up as Brad was in baseball. But man, he was so fucking flawless our entire lives.
Can you still find the Rolling Stone article about you online?
Yeah, just type in Bert Kreischer undergraduate. It's bizarre to read now.
Is the rumor about Van Wilder true?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I had nothing to do with the movie, so like,
but that it was based on.
Yeah. I had been told by the production company that made the movie, told me that. People at National Lampoon had told me that, and then I guess the director's girlfriend at the time told me that. And then we were going to sue them at first. Like when the movie came out, we were going to sue them. And my manager, Bertcast, got on the phone and he goes, it's like everyone, my agents, my manager, my lawyer, and my manager at the time, Bertcast, goes, Papa, are we talking about suing National Lampoon? And I said, yeah. And he goes, let me tell you something, buddy. There's 2 types of people in this business, people who work and people who sue. Pick which one you want to be. And I just didn't sue. Thank God, man. Thank God, because I think I ended up, like, my goal has always been to be bigger than that movie. Like, just so that people go, wait, shut up. Like, that's about Bert Kreischer, as opposed to like, so you're that guy. And so we'll see. Right.
No, it's the truth. You're not this guy going, that movie Van Wilder, that's based on me. you're 100% right. Like, oh, that's based on Bert Kreischer. I think that's a really powerful distinction. In fact, a classmate of mine in graduate school, in drama school, was up for the role that Cal Penn, like, got asked by his agent to read for the role that Cal Penn played. And he, I remember I had heard that he had, talked about it with the head of the department. He felt, he was be a little too much of a caricature and talking about cows and this and this. And it takes a lot of courage to do what you did, like initially turning down Bert the Conqueror, and a kind of integrity that sometimes I wonder if I possess. But like,
dude, your integrity is way above mine.
I don't know about that, but I will say that he said to the married man with 2 children. You know what I mean? But no, and then like that kid went on to do. He played Jonathan, Alec Baldwin's assistant on 30 Rock.
Wait, hold on. Hang on 1 second. Stop right here. Is that kid's name? Hold on. Don't say it. Malik. I went to grade school with him. Yeah. He was
Malik Pancholi.
Malik Pancholi. He went to Berkeley Prep. I went to Berkeley Prep too.
So he was my classmate at Yale Drama.
Shut the fuck up.
So my class, so you have to understand, I'm going to pick this up a little bit because it's getting a little dark, so I want to be able to see my damn face. Malik was, so at Yale, you only get accepted to your first year. You have to be invited back to your second and third year. And Malik did 30 Rock. He did Hitch. He was in Hitch. He played Will Smith's doorman. And he was doing lots of shows, like high-profile theater. And then he did that, and then he did Weeds. He did Sanjay and Ferb, I think is the name of the comic. He did some Lisa Kudrow thing, and he was on Broadway with Ben McKenzie doing a play that was written by someone else he went to school with. It was interesting. There's a program at the Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis, and it's for actors in their summer before their final year of training. Yeah. And my year, we all went on to do some really big things. It was sorry about that. Apologies. There's some footage you can't use with my fucking finger in front of the screen. No, but my year did really well. I mean, I think I've done okay for myself. There's an actor named Corey Stoll, who's now on Billions. He was Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man. He was in House of Cards. He played Buzz Aldrin in First Man.
Okay.
My classmate from Yale, Peter Macon, is now on that show, The Orville, Seth MacFarlane Star Trek one.
Yeah.
This girl, Jessica Weixler, won Best Actress at Sundance for a movie called Teeth, about a girl who grows teeth in her vagina.
I've heard. I think I heard that movie.
She's that girl, and actually, my roommate from this Guthrie program, his girlfriend was Jessica Chastain.
Shut up.
Yeah, dude. I'll post the picture at some point. It's pretty funny. Of she's just hanging out in the living room with us, but he and Jess dated for eons.
Yeah, Malik. When I went to Berkeley together, and every time I get together with the Berkeley girls from Tampa, they're always like, Malik is like blowing up. He's in 30 Rock, and he's in this and that. And I wish I was. My memory of shit is so bad. Where I go, I know it's like, not to be horrifically white guy here, but we only had like 2 Indian kids our entire fucking class, so it's either him or Samir Nagamia. So.
Wait, and you guys were contemporaries? Were you guys in class together?
Oh, yeah. We went to grade school together.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, Malik and his husband live not very far from where I live now in Brooklyn.
Really?
And it's funny, I did that Bottle Rock Festival in Napa, that food and music festival in Napa.
So good.
It's so dope. You should definitely do it when it's all over. But I did a thing, and I was talking to Jesse Tyler Ferguson backstage, and I mentioned, he said, "Oh, what year did you graduate Yale?" So like, there's like obviously the big famous graduates, the Meryl Streeps, the Stacy Keaches, the Sigourney Weavers, Turturro, Paul Giamatti, Tony Shalhoub, Liev Schreiber, Sanaa Lathan, the really, really big names. And there's, obviously names that have worked in the industry. And then right before me, 2 years ahead of me was a girl named Kathryn Hahn. Do you know her? Did you see Step Brothers? She played she was in Bad Moms.
Wait, hold on. Was Kathryn Hahn in Meet the Millers?
I don't know that movie.
Hold on one second. Kathryn Hahn. I think if this is who I think it is, I am obsessed with her.
She was already a star. She did Crossing Jordan right out of school. She did Crossing Jordan. And then she did How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. And then she did a little part.
I love Kathryn Hahn. Dude, Kathryn Hahn is like one of my favorite actresses around, dude. She is awesome.
She always been. Even at Yale, she like was one of the only actors they let leave to do a professional show while she was still a student. She did a show at the McCarter Theater while she was still a student at Yale, went right into being signed by Gersh, I think, and then went to do Crossing Jordan. And next thing I knew, she was like, yeah, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. She's in Anchorman.
Dude,
she's the one.
She is so fucking good.
She's the one that John C. Reilly is like banging in Step Brothers.
Yeah. Dude, I got obsessed with her. We saw Meet the Millers, and I was like, this girl's fucking legit funny. Who is she? Woman. I should say woman. I'm fucking horrible. I go, this woman's legit funny. Who is she? And my wife's like, oh my God, it's Kathryn Hahn. She's in everything, honey. Everything you like, she's in. And I was like, really? She's like, Step Brothers. I was like, shut up. She's in Step Brothers? Dude, she is awesome. And there's something about a fucking woman who can make me laugh where I just immediately find them sexy.
It's so true. I just was watching The Jerk again today. It was on. And Bernadette Peters crushes me.
She's so hot. So hot. Bernadette Peters is so fucking hot. Dude, fucking what's her name? Kristen Wiig is the sexiest human being in the world because her and fucking what's her name from 30 Rock? Tina Fey. Just the fact that they've made me laugh for this long, I'm like, God, man, I'd have to cheat on my wife just to be like I said I did it. These women are fucking too much.
Well, then you have, like Lisa obviously is a big comic now, and she's got Middle Eastern roots. Doesn't she do the Comedy Store and stuff?
Who's that?
Is it Lisa Marie?
I don't know. I don't know. I probably I don't know. I'm horrible.
But I agree with you. I think humor is always going to be an attractive trait. No, I would think to an extent, right? Humor is always going to be.
I take humor over ankles.
Over ankles?
Yeah, like she got fat ankles, but she's funny as fuck. I'd be like, I'll take funny as fuck.
Right. Well, that's beauty fades, man. Like that's the thing.
Beauty fades. It does. Look at me. I mean, come on,
dude. Come on. Based upon what I've been reading and seeing, it's like, and what I love is that you always seem to hang out with everybody after the show. That's one thing that I think is always really cool. You always seem to make time to speak to your audience, to hang out. Like, as I see every time you do a show, either on your Instagram stories or theirs, you see like people like, I can't believe it. You repost people like drinking with them after the show and stuff like this.
I think I'm just grateful to like have anyone want to come. Like I said, I think I was very lucky to find success later in life because I'm a lot more appreciative of it. Like, I think I work harder to keep it. I don't fuck my life up. I try to like stay focused. And I think it's because I just was like, I wanted anyone to ever, I wanted someone to like anything I did ever. So that when it finally happened and it was something I created, like stand up, I was like, oh, I'll do whatever the fuck you guys want. You guys want to go to a bar? You want to do pictures for 3 hours? I'm in. I gotcha.
That's tremendous, though. Now, here's my thing. As someone who definitely would like to procreate, I'm going to turn a light on because I feel this content is getting unusable for you. Let me put a light. Let me we're like a ghost. There we go. There's the light. Hallelujah. There we go. I have a motion light. Now I have a question for you though. Like, for whatever reason, I have not committed yet, but I know that I would like to procreate, and I know that I definitely don't want to grow old alone. You're on the road. You are successful. Obviously, I've seen the responses you get online. What was the tipping point? Because you've been with your wife for a hot minute. I saw that awesome picture you guys posted from back in school. What was the tipping point? Because this whole thing of like, if you know, like, I've thought I've known a bunch of times. A lot of times I've fucked it up, but I'm just curious. Like, because I'll tell you this, when this shit's over, so too is all my bullshit. Like, believe that, Bert.
That's fucking great. No, you know what happened for me is she dumped me.
What?
There's a line in do you remember the movie Beautiful Girls?
Matt Dillon?
Matt Dillon and Michael Rappaport?
Sure.
There's a line where Michael Rappaport gets dumped by his girlfriend and he proposes. She's like, "You're only proposing because I dumped you." And he goes, "Yeah, I didn't like the alternative." And it was that Leanne dumped me, and I was like, "Oh no, I like." By the way, I was flippant up until then. We've been dating like maybe 3 months, 4 months, and I was like, I don't want to put labels on it. And then she was just like, "I'm not in it," and then bounced. And fucking I melted down. I was like, okay, the alternative is I fucked this up and it was good. And I was like, I can either fight to get it back or nothing, or I have nothing. And I was like, oh, I'm going to fight. And I fought tooth and nail to get her back. And I said to God, I made a prayer to God on jogging down Outpost. I said, if you give me this woman back, I will not fuck it up. I won't cheat on her. I won't be disrespectful. I will be a great, everything she wants out of a man, I'll do. And I won't fuck this up. I swear to you on my children, I got back from that jog and she was sitting in my bedroom in a sundress. And I went, oh shit, God's listening. I was like, and then I was like held to the flame. I was like, I can't fuck this up. And I got a panic attack and I was like, wait. But yeah, ever since then I've been fucking, and it's like times like these when you're with your wife 24 hours a day, fucking 7 days a week, fucking 21 days in a row, where I go, God, thank God I picked the right person. I can't imagine being with those girls that used to get naked and put on makeup in front of the mirror, and you'd be like, yeah, this is hot and sexy, but it's a little annoying. Like you're like, I need someone with some fucking depth. So
yeah, and that's the thing too, is that look, no one tells you how to become successful. No one tells you how to go from like the cute, chubby, often friend zoned. I dated, but I think it's certainly a different matter when you are. And I'm not going to lie and say that having the success I've had didn't give me greater confidence and didn't give me a greater sense of self-worth. And it gave me worth. I mean, I was on unemployment. I was on food stamps. I struggled, and that's not sexy to a lot of women. And I remember there was someone that I was attracted to for eons, and she was dating someone, and we dated, and just like craved male attention. And whether it was on social, whether it was whatever, but you know what I mean? And I acted out of my own insecurities from that. And I think it's so hard to find someone that you have love and lust for in equal measure. And because I've done the other two, where like I have felt love, but no lust, and not as much closeness. So I think that, and I know I'm not necessarily anybody's bargain, but I have to say, like, I have thought about that and going, you know what? My buddy has this theory that this is sort of Mother Nature telling everybody, like, go to your room, because the environment's getting a huge break from all of our bullshit. There's less flights, less cars, less boats, less consumption, less violence. Crime rate is way down in New York. And I think, like, I remember thinking, like, I did like a whole bunch of stuff, like literally getting like just a pat on the back, someone squeezing your arm, someone hugging you. Like, I might have to wait 18 months to get hugged.
Yeah. It's insane. That the physical touch by dudes. This sounds really weird, but like I went to like right when everything started going sideways, I was going to do a podcast with Rogan. The thing about Rogan is he's very physical. Obviously, everyone knows that, but like with his friends, he's very physical. Like he always gives you the biggest fucking hug. I mean, that's just Rogan. You don't even think about it until you see him and he doesn't hug you, and it's like he's mad at you. It's almost like it was really bizarre to see him and be like, hi, and he was like, hey, how you doing, and like keep distance. And you're like, oh man, I this sounds crazy, but I miss the times of going to the store and just hugging the fuck out of everyone, because you hug everyone. Brian Callen, Brendan Schaub, fucking Sam Tripoli, like everyone hugs. So like I'm ready to hug a dude. That sounds crazy, but I'm ready to hug a dude.
I get it. I came from a really affectionate home, you know? Like, I remember winning an award, like an athletic award in school, and kissing my dad. And, like, you know, some motherfuckers almost like malfunction. By the way, I'm just picturing, like, the Bert Kreischer demo watching this. It's like, the fuck? The guy from Man vs. Food and the Machine are talking about needing, like, bro hug? What the fuck is this? What are they going to do? Crochet next? Fuck these guys.
You know what? Right now, every one of my listeners is going, dude, I need to hug a dude too. I miss hugging dudes.
But you know what's funny? There's a musical called Pippin. Probably, I don't know how many Broadway musicals get mentioned on your podcast.
Not many.
But it struck a chord with me not too long ago, because the whole thing was he never wants to get attached to anything, because he says he wants to live an extraordinary life. And he feels that he can't live an extraordinary life if he's tethered to anything. And therefore, he must be free and open in order to live a truly extraordinary life. But ultimately, he comes to this realization. He meets a widow and her son. And the sort of revelation that he has is that what makes the life extraordinary is the ability to share with someone. That the most gorgeous sunset, the most incredible architecture, the best meal, the funniest movie, the nicest sheets and comforter to wrap yourself in, they're better when you have someone to share them with. And like, it resonated with me, but I never really manifested it in my behavior. And I was on some fuckboy bullshit and hurt myself and a lot of other people in the process, and had a kind of come to Jesus moment, and decided just to try to be a better man. And I would not be surprised, viewers of the Machine podcast, that I will probably come out of this and run straight to a chapel or a synagogue, as the case may be.
Dude, this has been the best fucking podcast. We got to do this again. You want to do this in like a couple weeks?
I would listen. I would love to. I was so jealous. You were talking about some like petty like dynasty, like that bitch. I went for those of you who remember Simon Rex from MTV, and from Scary Movie. I just watched him in Scary Movie. Yeah, he's so good in that. By the way, he is the smartest motherfucker in this whole thing. Did he tell you about the place he bought?
No.
So right before your show, he got together with me, and we walked from the hotel I was staying at to your show. He bought a place way out in the Joshua Tree Desert. And it was built by this architect. It's this one cube. The whole thing is one giant cube, well water, solar power, generator, the whole thing. There's one road to get to that place, and there's like nothing for miles around. And if he needs supplies, he goes into Joshua Tree, and then comes to his hidden place. I'm not going to, blow him up. But yeah, and he's like, got this perfect scenario with just him, nothing around him for miles, a means of getting supplies. They stocked up.
Oh my God.
Well water. Yeah.
That's fucking
But
awesome.
I remember Rex told me, he's like, yeah. Bert asked me to do his podcast. And I was like, and he also did Something's Burning with you fuck.
Oh, he is so funny. He did. Dude, I got when things get back to normal, I gotta have you on Something's Burning. I gotta have you. Dude, you're like that's like a $1 million fucking, that is a match made in heaven. You on Something's Burning.
I've been begging. So that was why when he goes, yeah, dude, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Bert just asked me to do a show. I was like, that bitch.
He did Something's Burning, and he texted me the next day. He's like, hey man, everyone thinks I was on coke. I go, really? He's like, yeah. And then I watch it, and you can see his eyes are darting around. He's not on coke. He's just Simon. He's just fucking Simon.
Dead ass. I want to make that clear. Yeah, ditto at your show. And I was like, you suddenly seem very up and like energetic. He's like, but he that's legit just him.
Yeah,
he's super creative. And like you, he's got, wait, let me move the motion light. Hang on. I gotta activate the motion light. There we go. There, wait. Let me get it out of my face. We're gonna do this. There we go. Wait, there we go. Yes. Juiced a lot. But yeah, I would love to do it again, man. And I'm just so, honestly, I couldn't be more proud for your success if I were related to you, man. Truly.
Brother, really, I love you, man. I love you. Stay safe, and tell your mom I said hi, and tell her to stay safe.
I will. Love to the missus and the girls, and keep in touch, okay? Love you, buddy.
All right, brother. I'll take care. Take care.